But we demonstrated, and eventually, after very heavy price paid by the people of Kenya, we got a new constitution. That new constitution has been billed as one of the best constitutions in the world in terms of human rights provisions section of that constitution. The constitution that guarantees you the right to do what you want to do, the right to picket, the right to petition, the right to demonstrate. It's all enshrined in the Constitution. If there is something that you don't like, you have a right to demonstrate. People are demonstrating all over the world. They're demonstrating in France. They're demonstrating in Israel. They're demonstrating in Australia. They've been demonstrating in Senegal. Yet in Kenya, somebody proposed to criminalize demonstrations. That is, demonstrators are going to destroy properties of other Kenyans. Demonstrations are going to destroy properties of other Kenyans. You ask yourself, what properties do you destroy in Nyalenda? What properties do you destroy in Kibera? What properties are you destroying in Madari? Which properties are you destroying in Sondu? Which properties are you destroying in Migori? These are basically excuses to kill Kenyans in cold blood. And he must say no. Somebody goes and then prides himself, praises the policeman when he's talking in another part of the country, spewing political propaganda. That, nitawakalia ngumu. Hawajaniona, wataniona. Nitawakanyaga, tumewakanyaga. Because you've killed innocent people, you're going to shout at the top of your voice in another part of the country, and you're purporting to be a leader of a country. Every life must count. And then you're obsessed with saying, my next responsibility is to take Raila to Bondo. Raila knows, I don't need to be Ruto to take me to Bondo. But what is done is criminal. These people's hands are full of the blood of innocent Kenyans. Innocent Kenyans. And that is why we are all very emotional about this. And this is not something that should be allowed to pass away. Reason to go to the streets. People are not mad to go to the streets merely because Raila said go to the streets. They're going there because of their good reason to do so. They're talking about high cost of living. They're talking about high taxation. They're talking about education for their children. They're talking about electoral justice. All these are very fundamental issues that Kenyans are raising against this regime. And therefore we have said that this regime must stand condemned in the strongest terms possible with all civilized mankind. We will not be cowed. And I've said that people don't have to come to the streets. There are many other different ways of protesting. We can ask the people to stay home and don't go to the street to be shot by police. And next time, we are not going to ask people to go out and demonstrate. We'll tell them, kaa nyumbani. Kaeni nyumbani. And people will stay home. They will not go to work. Mr. Ruto does not own Kenya. It does not own Kenya. It does not own Kenya. And with Ruto, Kenya that is not we will not allow you to trample the rights of our people. We will resist. We will resist and we will resist. We've agreed, yes, we can talk. But we'll only talk so long as there is a conducive environment for talking. We have also said we do not want a share in Kenya Kwanza government. We do not want handshake. Hands which are tainted with the innocent blood of our people. We will not touch those hands. Not touch those hands. We will not touch those hands. We will stick to what is right. Gijogi mang, jidole wetu kuchaka.
Well, come on. Hi, I'm Mr. Vito.
Can't go? Stuck poop makes thin women look fat. Do this to clear.
You've probably seen this guy talking about constipation before.
Do this to clear out stuck poop fast.
He seems to... What? I did not know that.
Most people think that diarrhea and constipation are two different things, but the fact is diarrhea is your body's last-ditch, desperate attempt to get things moving again.
Okay, that actually makes sense.
So even though diarrhea moves things along, not all the poop cooperates and comes out, and the most stubborn poop gets left behind. To a traffic jam.
Okay, so not fiber, then what are they doing?
And they don't take laxatives, choke down psyllium, or drink lots of water just to poop every morning. That's not the best way to unclog stuck poop. There's an easier way.
Okay, here we go.
It's called the 7-second poop method. It's created by Dr. Gina Sam, a New York City gut doctor. Now, she was one of the very first doctors to investigate the link between the
by 405 billion, from 7.96 trillion to 8.401 trillion. External debt was at 4.209 trillion, while domestic debt stood at 4.192 trillion. This was the time Kenya was struggling with the impacts of COVID-19, including implementation of subsidies and the emerging war in Ukraine. But our total debt was still lower than what Ruto has incurred in 6 months' time. Kenya Kwanza has borrowed more than any other regime. They have removed subsidies, raised taxes, but the cash crunch has continued. They cannot pay salaries. They cannot disburse money to schools. They cannot disburse money to counties. They cannot disburse money to the elderly. They cannot finance the National Hospital Insurance Fund. And nearly all major infrastructure projects have stalled.